was not only mine. It is something that has been going on, that has been shared, by a lot of different people. So as I can see, as I started my research, I figured out 88% of Indians are trying to switch over to an eco-friendly lifestyle and are not able to find the right alternative products. Furthermore, 70% of Indians are also trying to look for sustainable brands that are trustworthy. On the other hand, the artisans themselves are unaware of the needs of the zero waste consumers and are unaware of sustainability in processes. That's where we try to come in. So Brand Zero is a social enterprise that helps local artisans across India to create eco-friendly alternatives catering to zero waste needs of the consumers. So we have our products, gifting products, and eco sustainability essential products, ranging from coconut products, coconut, wooden combs, and other things. We launched a website last year in January, and since then we have been adding on new products to it, including a range of candles and soy wax candles and party decor. So our vision is to create a parallel economy for artisan-made eco-friendly products that help reduce socio-economic disparity. So these products are basically the idea behind what we're trying to do here is to create a parallel economy which is led by handmade, handcrafted products that are going to compete against MNCs in the longer run. How we do it is by creating a social impact through the handmade products and developing an emotional quotient for the products themselves. Secondly, if we have working towards conservation education, that is basically helping us develop a community of zero waste lifestyle individuals. Furthermore, we're trying to create a new model that is going to help us invest into artisans and help us scale the model in itself. So these are some of the products that we are selling at the moment. As you can see, there are coconut bowls, there is a gift box that we have, there are toothbrushes and other things. We have candles that are made by artisan family, by self-help group of 7, who this is run by women who lost their job during this pandemic. We are coming up with a new range of products that are going to be sustainability decor. This is a segment that has not been worked into by any of the sustainability brands so far. So these are hand printed, hand blocked products that we are coming up with, and this is just one of the examples of those. In terms of the conservation education, that is the second aspect of what we're trying to do. We are making sure we've come up with a course called Zero Waste Lifestyle 101 that helps individuals understand the waste that they create in their individual lifestyles and how they are trying to tackle with that particular problem. In the second, we also have our own podcast where we talk to industry experts who go forth and tell us about the nuances and the details about what is going on in the industry and how one can become a part of this sustainability industry in itself. We have our own, we also have another product called Eco Rating. This is basically that people do understand what an eco-friendly product is, but how eco-friendly is it is something that people normally do not have the language for it. So this is a rating system we have built on our website that helps us rate every product as compared to plastic, so that you can give them have an understanding as to what and how sustainable that product is. Here is what our impact plan is for the next few years. We are majorly like two aspects that we're taking care of. The first one is the artisans that we work with. Currently, we are working with 19 artisan families. All our products are sourced not from big vendors, but from very small families who are not able to compete with any other production that is over there. And we also have a self-help group of 7 women, as I mentioned, who are helping us make those candles. We have in the last 1 year, we have been able to divert 1,000 kgs of waste from going into the landfills and oceans. For now, we have been focusing on planet. This year, we are trying to focus on the profit. Next year, we'll be focusing towards this the people aspect, and slowly, steadily, we'll be reaching towards a sustainability goal and making sure in the longer run that there is an opportunity for everybody to reach equality. Our current business model is that we source products directly from artisans. We stock it at our warehouse. We sell it through our own website. We are also selling through Amazon, Flipkart, Brown Living, and Qdrove. We do small exhibitions and pop-up shops around Delhi. And in terms of B2B, we take pre-orders and bulk orders, and say we're selling to corporates. And we are also selling to small Kirana stores who promote our products during festive seasons. In terms of research, we have been doing extensive research to start our work within the zero waste community. We started with secondary research that helped us figure out the zero waste market and the sizing of the market itself. The second thing that we did was we did a social listening exercise in which we evaluated over 10,000 conversations that were organically happening on the internet in India. We were able to figure out certain cues, and when basis that we came up with a primary exploratory research with over 350 questionnaires that was filled out by people, and we were able to classify our audiences into different segments. Basis that we were finally able to go forth and do in-depth interviews with people and figure out where we can target these. In terms of the market size, we, as I told you before, that 84% of the population is looking forward to switching towards a zero waste lifestyle. But there are affordability issues and availability issues. So we are working on the affordability part. So that's why we basically came up with a solution that let's first target people who are willing to pay extra for a cause and eco-friendly products. And this is the target segment that we figured out. Our target market initially includes the tier 1, and it is expected to be around, the number of people are expected to be around 6 crore. Our competition right now is this market is particularly filled with a lot of small players, but there is no one standout performer in this segment. If you think of handicrafts, Fab India is the market leader. But if you think of Care for the Environment, Bare Necessities is the only organization of well-reputed name within the society, and that too is just a startup as of now. So what we're trying to do is place ourselves somewhere in between both these two. We always keep a track of all the competition that we have, and we try to solve that to do our best with it. So in terms of the projected sales, we are expecting from this year onwards for the next 3 years, we are expecting to reach our gross profits of 50 lakh rupees. And after that, once we can commercialize using our invest in artisan model, we will be able to create significantly increase our sales to 6 crores, our revenue to 6 crores. In terms of our financials, these are something that this is the initial plan as to what are the sales we are expecting, what the marketing we are spending right now. As of now, if you can see, we have only in the last 1 year we made a sales of around 1,80,000, but we have hardly spent anything on marketing so far. This has all been through word of mouth. So we will be starting with our proper sales and marketing from the next month, when we are launching a new range of eco-friendly decor, which are handmade. So this is our team. I'm Deepak. I'm the founder. I'm a researcher and a marketer. I've previously worked in a social enterprise called Pool. I was heading the marketing for them. They convert eco-friendly. They convert flowers to incense sticks, and I was basically responsible for making sure of their rebranding and coming forth. And within a month of our relaunch, we were able to get awards at the United Nations as well. So Vishesh, our team also includes Vishesh, Ami, and a couple of more people who help us with design and marketing. Our mentors are basically people who have always worked throughout and have figured out mentors for specific fields who help us out with specific problems, and that way we get to have an in-depth conversation about a particular topic with them. So thank you. This is Deepak, and we try to do our work ethically, honestly, mindfully, and I've tried to do the same here without. And I'm open to any questions that you have.
Shall I?
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. Deepak, I have two questions. In interest of time, I would ask both together. My first question is, and you yourself mentioned during your competitor slide that various competitors are present in different categories. Have you, right, or unless until I have missed that, have you defined your own category in terms of theme, durable, non-durables, food, non-food, anything? That is my first question. Second question is, see, my experience, especially with a kind of a small experience which I have with this kind of artisans and everything, the major challenge which this business faces is the synergies in demand and supply. You have sometimes a huge demand, but we don't have the product to supply, and sometimes you have product in your go down, but you don't have a demand. How do you plan? Have you foreseen this first? And how, if you are foreseen this, how do you plan to tackle this? These two questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, sir. The first part of it is that what are the products we're focusing on? We started out with sustainability essentials. To be known to the consumer that we're a zero-based lifestyle brand, we wanted to start out with sustainability essentials like wooden combs, toothbrushes, and other things. But slowly, steadily, we are shifting towards our own target segment, and that is the party segment, for party or any occasion celebration segment that has not been tapped yet. So this particular segment includes decor, tableware, games, and even virtual, and even return gifts and everything. So all of these things have not been tapped by any social enterprise or a zero-waste brand as of now. So this is the target segment that we found, and also we keep a tab on about all the 200 to 300 competition that we have, as to if there is something new in the market, and that is how we deal with the competition aspect of it. So sorry, your second part of the question was?
Synergies in demand and supply. You have a huge demand, you don't have the product, and vice versa.
Right. Right. So for that, what we've been trying to do, this was something that I also figured out during my past experiences working with handcrafted products. I realized that one of the main things that happens is it's always the B2B sales that there is a demand and supply problem. So we have been trying to get big brands to get their marketing goals, their Diwali gifting or any major gifting 4 to 5 months in advance. So they do this because we get to work with one small artisan family who will have a very deep impact on their lives. So instead of going through many artisans, we go to one family, we give them a large project of about 10 lakh or something, and they basically don't have to worry about predictable income for the next 5 to 6 months. On the other hand, the company gets customized gifts for each of their employees. So what we're doing here is customizing every product according to their employees, so that once they receive the gift on Diwali, it is specifically made for that particular the employee. So this is the way we get to earn our money throughout we predict the demand earlier.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions from the panel?
Yeah, hi Deepak, Anuj. Obviously, I had been advising Fool for quite some time. So they had focused only in one product, and they have made it the best. Like if you put it like this, right? So you have now kind of got into a much more bigger ocean. All brands, and obviously, as a strategy, it's an awesome thing. You want to support a sustainable brand. You've got a great team, but you have to narrow down the things. Otherwise, you will kind of lose into the whole things, because you cannot have the quality controls in every segment. And also, if you are trying to talk about the customer preferences as well, they will like to associate your brand with certain kind of items. So at the early stage, it's fine, like a couple of lakh rupees sales here and there, you can scramble and do it, but you won't be able to scale up properly. And second is, like, if you have to sustain the kind of team you have, you need to be slightly more ambitious in terms of the way you grow. So right now you've done it more like in an organic way, but I think you need to be more aggressive. And for that, obviously, you will need some kind of a capital and other partnership models which needs to come in. But as we say, like, one is a slightly narrower thing, and second is like having a much bigger scale which needs to come in as well. Because if you are saying like people want to prefer to have these types of products, then your scale should be much bigger as well. Otherwise, how you will sustain?
Absolutely.
None of you will be able to pay salaries to each other. The margins. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this advice, because this is like, in a way, that the first part of what you were saying, it has been my learning for the past 1 year as well, that we have a broad base of products. We wanted to narrow it down. And that's why we have come up with the solution of just focusing on party essentials. And we're also narrowing down and cutting down a few more products that are already there. So that is, I think, thank you so much for this advice. And we are already trying to work on this.
Okay, I don't have any question. Thank you very much, Deepak.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Deepak. Thank you, judges. We can move to the next presentation by Team Indus.
Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Just give me 1 second. Please don't start the timer. 3, 2, 1. So, Namaskaram to this. My name is Anup Paikar, and this is my product, Ventico. So, let's start with the punchline. Desi Chula ka new Ventico. So, let's start the story. So, all this began with one day I saw my grandma coughing from the smoke produced by the smart stove or so-called chula. So I got curious and went into the internet and searched what are the health hazards of inhaling smoke produced by a mud stove. And what I found literally shocked me. The amount of carbon monoxide produced by the mud stove is equivalent to smoking 5 cigarettes. And then, as I dig deeper, I came to an article published by the United Nations Foundation with the tagline of air pollution is the biggest problem in the world right now. As I kept on reading that article, I came to a point when I understood that 9% of global CO2 emission and 25% of global black carbon emissions are produced by burning wood, stubble, and cow dung. Now you must be thinking, Anup, how is this even possible that 9% of global CO2 emission and 25% of global black carbon emission are produced by burning this? This is possible because even in 21st century, 2.5 billion people all over the world, which is around 33% of world population, and 800 million Indian, which is around 50% of India's population, are still using biomass burning stove or mud stove or chula to cook food. Now, coming to the problem of using the chula. First, do you know how much CO2 does mud stove produce annually in India? It is around 55 million tons of CO2. Do you know how many people die every single year due to the inhalation of toxic gases such as PM 2.5, PM10, carbon monoxide produced by this mud stove? It is around 1 million women. It means that 2 women every single minute. Third, using the blowpipe is very uncomfortable and dangerous as you have to bring your face close to the fire. And finally, sitting in the squatting position for a longer period lead to back problem and distorted posture in the later ages of your life. So how we are going to solve all this major issue with one solution? So before moving, let me tell you how I came to that idea. So when I was surveying regarding this problem in my own village, I came to the conclusion that in rural areas, women were indulged in 2 of this activity. First is cooking and the second is tailoring. And that was the eureka moment. That was the moment when I decided to make a solution so simple that it will be extremely scalable as well as it is going to be appealing, or you can say attracted towards the rural segment of the rural customer. So that's how I took the component from the swing machine and the component from the chula and made my solution, which is Ventico. It is the world first mechanically powered 4-star stove that has a treadle mechanism similar to that of the swing machine. It is connected to an air inlet fan that rotates and pushes air inside, clean air inside, giving to a far better combustion. So this is just a CAD design. I'm going to show you the real prototype in the later part of the video. So as you can see, this is how it basically works. Moving on to the main culprit over here, which is the mud stove. So as you can see, the amount of smoke being produced over here. Also see sitting in such an uncomfortable position using the blowpipe just to maintain the flame. Now let's compare that with our solution Ventico. As you can see, I'm comfortably sitting in a chair. I'm not using any blowpipe. I'm not sitting in the ground, and I'm cooking with my hand, and barely any smoke is produced over here. It's like a miracle happening. And the treadle mechanism is rotating the fan, as you can see right now, which is constantly pushing air inside. So here you can see no smoke at all, and such a clean and beautiful flame. Now you must be thinking, Anup, do I have to pedal? For example, I'm cooking for 30 minutes. Do I have to pedal for 30 minutes? Absolutely no. Here you can see I have stopped pedaling. Just look at the flame. So this is the clear difference between Venticook in the left and mud stove in the right. So hope you understand how our solution works. Moving on to the right now we are in the prototyping stage, or you can say preparing the MVP. So in the video you saw this model in the left, which was our initial prototype. It was a bit bulky, it was very large, there was a many unnecessary metallic parts. And this is the MVP that we have currently prepared. As you can see, we have reduced the size by 50%. The weight is now nearly 4.5 kilos, somewhere around 4 kilos. We have done extensive cost cutting by reducing a lot of materials. And finally, we have given it a polished and colored it similar to that of the color of the mud. So, so this is being the progress. After that, moving on to the impact that it can bring. First, it is nearly 200% more efficient than a mud stove, consumes 50% less food. The smoke or the unburned carbon particle or the PM particulate matters is reduced by 2 times. In terms of environment, if we can replace all the mud stove with Venticook, we can reduce the emission from 55 million tons to 18 million tons. The time of cooking is also reduced by 40%, and comfort. Instead of using your lungs, you just have to use your legs. Moving on to the competitor analysis, our biggest competitor is EnviroFit, and our ultimate competitor is obviously the LPG. So in terms of cost, Venticook is the most affordable. In terms of efficiency, we are far more efficient than EnviroFit, but we do lag behind from LPG. You can control the flame in Venticook. If you want to cook faster, you just have to pedal faster and you can cook it in very less time. The risk is also very low as we are using solid fuel such as wood and cow dung cake, whereas in LPG, any type of mishandling happen, it can lead to gas leakage or even explosion in the wash place. Finally, the cost of fuel is nearly free as they are readily available in the rural area, which is wood and cow dung cake, whereas in LPG, as we all know, month by month, the price of LPG cylinder is rising, and it takes around 9 to 10 days to reach it to rural areas, making it very much unfeasible. So this is our current business plan, how we are going to make the revenue, or we can say the revenue model. So we have 3 channels. One is through NGOs. Then we have the corporate channel, which is CSR and carbon credit, and the soft financing, which is through SHGs and Gramin Bank. So we can discuss the business model in the Q&A itself for more details. In the market potential, our initial market, the SOM is around 20 million households in Odisha. The SM is around 145 million households all over India. And the total market is around 700 million households all over the world. The national market, you can say potential is around $2 billion, and the international is around $12 billion. So our go-to-market strategy involves SHGs, which are self-help groups. Only in Odisha, my native states, there are more than 5 lakhs SHGs. Then we have Anganwadis. They're a great place to aware the children and the parents regarding the health as a term. Then there are around 21,000 rural development NGOs in Odisha itself. We have already in touch with few of them. And finally, Panchayat, where we can demonstrate our product, give them free samples, communicate, and all those things. Moving on to the, you can say, our strategy or the plan. We have already conducted the pilot in my own village. We have already collected the feedback. Right now, as I showed you the picture, we are preparing the final NPP, or we are modifying. After that, we are going to apply for the Unnat Chula Abhiyan that I'm going to discuss in the later part of the slide. And finally, we are going to connect to the NGOs and SHG by the end of June. And then we are going to produce our first batch of 500 units by the end of August and September. Why do you think we will be successful, or what are the success factors? First is customer desirability. We satisfy both emotional and functional desires of the customer, which is cook faster, affordable, save time and fuel, and is far more comfortable. Also, in terms of market viability, there's a great policy known as Unnat Chula Abhiyan, in which the government is providing subsidy up to 600 rupees to clean cooking stove like Venticook, making this, you can say, very much affordable for the rural population after getting the subsidy. And technological feasibility, we are the most affordable and the only 4-stop stove in the entire world that doesn't use electricity. These are few of our achievements. We are funded by 3M International and EWB, incubated by Atal Incubation Center, mentored by Wadhani Foundation, and our work has been recognized by the prestigious UNDP. And these are some of our other achievements. Ending the presentation with this one thought: what do you see in the screen? Darkness, nothing, isn't it? This is the life of a woman trapped in the kitchen with smoke. And with LPG, induction, solar cooker, and all those solutions being in the market for decades, still it has not able to give that impact. But I believe Venticook is the new ray of hope. Thank you so much for your present hearing. I'm open to any questions.
All right, Anup, you can stop sharing the screen and.
Shall I?
Yes, sir.
Anup, just single question. Considering the current government schemes and government promotion of adopting the LPG cylinders across India, and let's not get into the execution of it. Let's assume it's getting effectively implemented. How do you see your product in that light? I mean to say, why anyone would accept this product instead of LPG?
Right, sir. So as you said again, that government is pushing the Ujjwala Yojana, which is a very, you can say, somewhat got a mixed review. And here you can see this report by the Indian Express. Over 99% of the Ujjwala cylinder refilled failed in the Uttarakhand. Plus, I have another report by the Odisha Post in which more than 70% of the cylinder they failed to refill in Odisha. So what does it indicate? When the survey was conducted, the rural population, they themselves have said that if we can get the cow dung cake, the wood and all those things at a very affordable price and easily available, why should we spend 900 to 700 rupees on purchasing the LPG? So I'm not trying to change their habit to completely to LPG. I'm saying that if you want to stick with the wood and cow dung cake and you don't have the money to purchase the LPG, here take Venticook. I'm giving you an option which is very much efficient and it is not going to give you any type of health hazard, which is better compared to that of using the mud. So that is what our vision is.
So, Anup, I had been active in this sector, obviously, in impact investing for quite some time. And this improved cook stove has been a very big success story across the globe.
Yes.
So there is a UNDP one special wing which is focused only on improved cook stove.
Right.
So if you're talking about some kind of a rollout and other things, why not you put across a proper application and also reach out to them?
Yes, sir.
Because
yes.
So it all depend on, like, one is the customers that you identified, which is absolutely right, and the problems which you are stating. Second is the affordability of this whole thing. So like in Bangladesh, where I worked, like that was close to 1,000 rupees. Now in India, if you talk about improved cook stove, they are talking about 2,500 kind of thing. And then it goes to up till 6,000 rupees based on the size and also the durability of it. So you need to talk about that, like pricing. The same thing, like the demand is definitely there if we kind of talk about it, but it needs to also calibrate with respect to how you will go to the next stage to sustain. Because they are already active, like EnviroFit and various other entities are there, Greenways and others. So there will be decent amount of competition that you will be facing. Yeah.
So to my answer to that will be the problem with the EnviroFit and all other stores was that they were just following the same trend, which is like, yes, sir, like they're making the natural rub through with very little innovation and just like putting the logo and selling it on. And that is the, you can say, the gap I saw, that why no one is trying to make at least an attempt to create something which has not been done, what I tried to do. And I also got a great response. Like every time I take it to the piloting, the people will say, "Arey, ye to silai machine jaisa lag raha hai." Like they will feel that connection that, okay, he's brought something that we have experienced before in the rural areas. So that will be somewhat where my approach is, trying to keep it affordable, plus making it a connection with the rural population, which is going to appeal them to purchase it. So yes.
Thank you. I just have one observation on this. I think
yes,
what Mr. Anuj said is a kind of competition already in the market.
Right.
Also, I think if you go through government route, that would be more suitable for the kind of target audience you are referring here. And there was one last point here is you highlighted few customer desirability points, and
Right.
some of those things you talked about time, all those things. I think there is to be something new, novel there. Those are something that I think the socio-economic profile that you are referring may already have it. They may not really excite. It may not be really exciting to them. So if you can, what your design point of view can bring in some more value to the product, in addition to what other players are doing, from the customer's point of view, I think that would be more improvement. I think that would be better. That can give you an edge over the competition. That's my view about it. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions?
So if there are no more questions, we can move forward. All right. Thank you. So the next team is Swatch Step.
Can I share?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Can you just give me one? Hello? Swatch Step was started in 2016 when I was in my civil engineering final year. So at that time, my professor told me that I have to baptize first work in this project. Baptized in sense that I have to basically put my hands in the waste and to live at least one day like other actors live, and uh, they face the difficulties. So the day I started working on the field, and the first time I opened the plastic bag, which was of the mixed waste in Pune city, and the first day I touched the diapers, which was in that, and the first time I had that urine on my hand of somebody else, and it was like I was not able to sleep and eat for the next 2 days because that kind of it shattered me completely. The second thing was that one day we also found out one baby was lying on the garbage dump which was present there. So the garbage itself is itself a ecosystem which thrives all the people and the waste. The team which currently we are working with, Mr. V.R. Kalyankar is the was a chief engineer of Maharashtra Jeevan Pradhikaran department, and Mr. Ashish is a lead engineer in carbon metric at FIS Technology, and we are having as our mentor Som Narayanan sir, who is the co-founder of carbon matrix startup. So while studying this entire problem in the final year, as well as the 5 years I was on the back of my thinking about the problem. So the main crux of the problem is the inefficient segregation at the source itself. So there is no system to check the offenders, and as the wet waste and the dry waste gets mixed, the recycling value of the waste goes down, and also the collection system of the government is a little inefficient, and they are not having any specific time, and they come once every day, and 90% of the budget is only burnt on the collection system. Also, the less money is given to the rack pickers, the collection people, as well as the kabaddi walas. So once you are a kabaddi wala, you're a lifetime kabaddi wala, so he cannot graduate his level. As well as recyclers and the waste to energy plants, when they get the mixed waste, their plants are facing problems. And in India, they are all in a dwarf size, means 100 metric tons of biogas plant is very rarely seen. So, and also the stakeholders, the users or residential people who are there, they do not give any incentive for the waste they are submitting. And this middleman only suck the most of the values in it. So we try to bring for this, we after thinking a bit, we thought in 2016 that we should be building a digital platform for waste management. But in 2016, the digital revolution was not that much, and people were not aware of such thing. Yet we designed one hyperlocal waste collection system that was on hub and spoke model. The platform on which the people will be submitting their waste, and we will be incentivizing the users who are submitting their waste. So for this, in 2022, we started 3 incentive programs like the school fees or waste to education. So whatever the waste the residential people will be giving, we will be taking that waste from them for the 365 days in a year, and we will be in Nanded there are 571 schools in which 80,000 students are currently studying. So we are working on the delayed gratification principle, wherein we pay that a percentage of school fees of the private schools in the bank account of that child. And those who are studying in the public as well as the madrasas or the religious institutions, we are opening a Fab Baby account. But here we are putting a condition that they should be submitting the waste at least for 300 days, and they should be having the accounts. Second is this baby who means a child who is studying in the public schools who do not take any fees. So for this, we are trying the Fab Baby or financial access at birth, a pilot. This basically idea was of Professor Bhagwan Chaudhary of ISB and Vijay Mahajan sir of Basics Organization. So the basic idea was to give this $100 in a one time in the account, and it will be debited at 18 years. It was same like individual development account, which is being run in Singapore, Australia, and UK. So India's total fertility is 2.2, and the total requirement per year would be $200 million, which government they were saying that government should be paying, but we are thinking that we can pay this, but without the government's help. And to remove the amount, they will be requiring a bank account and 10th and 12th certificate, so that the girls who are in the public school, they don't drop out, and also the students of the rack pickers, sex workers, or anyone all the margin in the public school, they get some money at the age of 18, and which can be used for education, health, and business purposes. The third idea which we want to run on the pilot is to help this beggar and the homeless to business model. This was of the Professor Mohammed Yunus pilot. So we are running it on the pilot basis. So this means this people we are trying to give 500 rupees financial loan at very low interest, and we are making them to pick the waste which is littered in the open, and also to sell the sanitary pads and sell the toys and daily needs to them, so that they get some de-risking from their job. Currently, I tried this in Nanded with 10, but they are not responding to it, and they just ran away. So basically, how the system works is just it's an aggregator. So the registered users can use it to means on the application, as well as they can call SMS, or and a verified collection partner will be coming and he will be taking the waste. Or we are in contact with the delivery partners. These are shops which are grocery shop and commercial spaces, and we are taking them on. We are taking them as a sponge of solid waste management, so that these are the touch points where people can drop their waste if the collection vehicle is not coming. And this central facility we are trying to build, but Nanded Municipal Corporation is not yet giving the permission, and HGGS's college is helping out in this thing. Not only the rag pickers, but in this collection system, we want to assimilate transgender sex workers, manual scavengers, HIV patients, physically disabled, and the kabaddi walas. Because these are the destitute communities who are doing a very different job. So we are trying to give them at least one formal job. And by de-risking them like the bigger business model, we are trying to give them some loans, and they can continue their work. So Swachha Steps aggregator app is one-click call SMS waste collection, wherein you can just book from your house, and you just can submit the. So the technology which we are using is smart scheduling and scanning the waste. And advanced estimation is like we will be exactly knowing how much waste is being generated in the subzones and every single houses beforehand only, and our people will be going there before the government collection system goes. And this system, this sector is highly notorious for cash payments, and that breeds the black economy. So we are trying to digitalize the stakeholders as much as possible by providing them wallets and the money in their accounts. So we have kept limited use cases here. That is, you can just book on the from your house, and even on work, or you can just deliver to our one person who is 100 meters away from you. So users benefit is that 100% waste collection and 100% waste segregation at the source of itself will be achieved. The waste which will be collected, we will be giving all the profits to the children itself in the form of their school fees, and minimum wage will be achieved for the rag pickers. We are trying that no trucks will be used, and we save the 60% of the fuel cost, and there will be no beans required in the city, and no transfer station, and the landfill's life should be increased. So basic difference between us and our competitor is the no quantity of the limits. Means the current competition takes only the weighable things like paper or plastic, whatever. It should be in 1 kg or 2 kg, and they only take a certain type of waste. We are trying to take even the sanitary pads and all waste, and at any time of the day we will be available for you. And you can just drop with any delivery partner which is 100 meters away from you, and this will lead to the education. The money will be given to the students, and we are trying to eliminate it. So the triple bottom line of social impact is that the cities will be cleaned, and the landfills load will be reduced, and it will be sustainable waste management. Also in social, we are trying the waste to education, and rag pickers life will be improved by the fabric initiative, also by their children will be in the schools. And economy is like the increase in the jobs. Currently, we are working only in the Nanded area, which is having a tier 3 city in Marathwada area, and the waste generation is not much. It's only 100 tons per day, and most of it is wet waste only, and less is dry. So currently the market is 13.2 billion, but we are trying to take this 57 urban clusters, which are high waste generating areas, And 62 million metric tons is the waste which is generated in the municipal areas, but we are trying to take this 30 million metric tons, which is drop. In Nanded, the residential is more, so we are focusing on the residential in the first phase. So business model is same like the sales of product, whatever the waste we will be getting, we will be giving it to the recyclers who are selected only. And we have come across that 5 to 10 tons if we collect of the variety, then we might generate 5 to 8 lakhs per day. And this figure can go up and down, means, depending upon the collection of that day. So for
10 minutes up, please kind of wrap up.
Yeah, so just the competition was so dry waste we were having the the recycle.com and Ratiwala, and in the wet waste this. So this future and go to market strategy was we are targeting the women and the girls, and by giving them sanitary pads, and because 90% of the waste is given by the women's itself, and we are targeting the schools. So this 80,000 students we are targeting a lecture and the partnership with them, the local shops and the clinics, and that will be working as a sponge of waste management. Okay, it's more time, I guess. Hello? I think the time has exceeded.
Yes. Yes. Hi, Sudhir. Anuj here.
Yeah.
So there are few initiatives from our TESS alumni as well who have focused on sustainability and also waste management. So it's a pretty competitive field, but at the same time, the bigger challenge is like at a smaller level it works, but the moment we scale up,
Exactly.
then huge amount of complications comes in, and that kind of diminishes the scale up thing. So very few startups actually have kind of scaled up, like very few. And we have a big unorganized sector. So a startup which is just present in 3 cities is valued like one of the most prized like waste management startup, that kind of thing. So how you see it like evolving, because there are lots of lessons also which you may have learned or studied with a comparative other startups as well.
Basically, we are thinking that this waste to education, we are trying to change the perspective. Means people are just going behind the instant gratification model. That is, you give the waste and we will be giving you money. So we are trying to go with the delayed gratification, and we hope that this model will be clicked by the people. Means it will be appreciated, and we hope that we scale on the ground. I'm really sorry. I cannot hear because there is too much noise.
No worries. No, I was just trying to give a quick thing. Like at a smaller level, these initiatives work very well, and you can have lots of impact getting measured, and also unit economics can still work. But the moment you scale up, these things kind of get filtered in. Like, so you need a very good business model as well. Otherwise, you can't make money properly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are still at idea and MVP stage only. So we are yet building that model. The revenue which is coming, it is not enough to sustain everything. So we are pre-incubated at Indian School of Business right now. I'm there till May 2022. So within that time, we are trying to make it scalable and also workable model. As well as I gave the interview for IIT Madras MS program. So I hope that if I get selected there, I can take this project and work on the more facets there also. But I'm still awaiting for the results, and I will within once our MVP will be getting ready, we will be trying to do more work in it. We are a very initial stage. Hardly we have started in 3 months only. Yeah, so much of the picture is not yet clear. Because we have started a POC, but it was only 50 houses. So the scale was very much, it was under our control. But when we scale to 1 lakh, it is going to be very tedious job for us also.
Yeah. So just to also, what you're focusing in is a very big problem. So that's, I'm not taking away the kind of intensity of the problem that you're addressing. That's pretty phenomenal. The only word of caution is like when you are getting into a slightly larger segment, all these things become very, very challenging as well. So keep that into mind and keep iterating. That's the best thing. Yeah. Thanks.
Not many questions from my side. So there is just one. What I understand is probably what you need to focus more is creating value out of those waste. The whole thing, creating value was not very clear coming out. And in fact, that is the make and break point, what I feel. Because all this delayed gratification and everything, what you're going to pay back to create an impact will depend on that. And I think major all those people who are actually in this field are probably struggling in this area.
Exactly. Sir, but in the first phase, we are trying only for aggregation, means collection. We will definitely work in the processing business or value addition. But at this stage, means we are hardly 3 months. So once we are a little stabilized or within first year or second year, we want to enter into the processing business and recycling business, so that the waste which is collected, we make some pellets or at least some valuable things, and also the other revenue models can be increased, can be come in this, because this at this stage we will burn out, means if we are entering into the processing as well as collection. So both the things at one point itself is very tough. So we are only focusing on collection right now, but once we are stabilized, we are entering into processing also.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have any question. Thank you very much, Sudhir. Wish
Thank
you
you,
all the
Sudhir.
best. Yeah.
Thank you, judges. So moving forward, we have Team Ascent to present their ideas. Team Ascent.
Yes, can you just give me?
Sure.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, your screen is visible.
So, okay, very good afternoon to one and all present here. Today, we are here to present to you our very own venture, sent by us. Our knowledge in the fields of research, marketing, and finance enabled us to stride in this enriching journey and devise this potential business model. I'm Sneh Dhanuka, and my other partners are Yash Goel, Yash Mundra, Rakshita Chanchere, and Gautam Bansali. Before starting, we would like to present a short clip about our model.
वैसे तो हम फूलों की बहुत कदर करते हैं, हर खुशी हर त्योहार में इन्हें शामिल करते हैं, पर सिर्फ तब तक जब वो खिले रहते हैं। उसके बाद या तो वो पैरों के नीचे कुचल दिए जाते हैं या नदियों में बहा दिए जाते हैं।
In order to solve the problem of water pollution and keep the purity of rivers intact, we came up with Ascent. Ascent by Arpan aims to revolutionize the practice of discarding the temple flowers in the water bodies through the collection of these flowers and production of flower-based incense sticks.
Today, we are here to talk about a product that is centered around something as basic as a flower. Every year, about 80 lakh metric tons of flowers are disposed into the Ganga, that in turn is accountable for 16% of India's total water pollution. At its end, our mission is to disrupt this massive waste stream by using flower waste as a primary aromatic and eco-friendly ingredient in our products. Ascent reuses 60% flower waste for producing the hand-rolled incense sticks. Along with this, our product is 100% charcoal-free and eco-friendly. We employ women from the marginalized sections of society and especially able people. Apart from making efforts to reduce social inequality and environmental pollution, we also have organic packaging. Our incense sticks are available in 6 fragrances: rose, lily, lavender, jasmine, nuban, and lemongrass. Some of the fragrances are known to be helpful in increasing focus, inducing sleep, as well as repelling mosquitoes. Use them while meditating or while working. You'll surely notice the difference. Our second product, Ascent incense cones, were developed and launched in record time. We must have done it right because we saw our entire launch inventory getting sold within 5 days of the launch. Let's listen to one of our customers and what she has to say.
This is Antje from Germany. As you can see, I hold your aroma stick here in my hand, and thanks a lot for that. It smells perfect. This is Antje from Germany.
We procure raw materials like flower waste, convert them into incense sticks, and pack them in our organic packaging. Our channels of distribution include online, offline, white labeling, consignment, and social media channels. We have collaborated with NGOs for production and packaging and employ 5 women, train and empower them. We provided them with machinery and also trained them in all the core business operations. Along with a strong feedback mechanism, we follow an extensive social media marketing. Any prototype, however technologically advanced it may be in terms of its quality or utility, serves no real purpose until tried out in the dynamic and competitive business environment. When we brought down the product from theory to practicality, we had a product that prohibits the release of hazardous carbon monoxide that is gravely condemned for resulting in indoor pollution. The next step was consulting with the experts with regard to making the product more appealing. This was followed by execution of the inputs received. Coming to our business model, our major demand avenues for Arpan include corporate gifting, online retailers, offline female retail shops, and lifestyle exhibitions for religious purposes and aromatherapy. Our stakeholders include the user community, Prabhat NGO, which supplies the raw materials, and the transport corporation, which ensures timely delivery of the goods. Major expenditure area in the manufacturing processes are the raw material and packaging. Fixed costs include rent, electricity charges, expenditure on equipment. Variable costs are incurred on raw material, labor, packaging, and transportation. To maximize our revenue, we follow differential pricing and the lemon tree model. Right now, Ascent under Arpan has an online and offline presence to expand its customer base. Our primary market is India, a country with a population of 1.3 billion people. Our target customers, the middle income and the higher income, represent a market of 350 million for our product. We follow the lemon tree model, under which larger the demand avenue, the greater the profit margin for them. Next, we also follow differential pricing, which is charging different prices from different demand avenues. Several awareness campaigns have been undertaken to educate people about the environmental benefits of our product. Extensive referrals and social media marketing have been our effective strategy. It is very pertinent for us to understand the dynamics behind the market in which we operate and what all it entails. Unless and until we find out our edge over the existing players and develop a niche for our product, what good are we? So the first step in the process involves finding out who our real competitors are, not just any brand who is in the selling industry, the same product as us. After going through their offerings, we have identified Pool as a major competitor due to them being the only player in the premium incense stick industry. We have been successful in tackling the pricing. We have been successful in tackling this by pricing our product competitively and making our quality a USP. So now moving over to the financial aspect. To date, we have sold over 9,250 boxes and generated a revenue of 9,25,000. We have sold 800 boxes in exhibition, done 6 corporate gifting orders, and are catering to orders across more than 40 selling points, which includes retail outlets, e-commerce platforms, and gifting avenues. Our expenses, including the fixed and variable amounts to more than 5,11,250. With a profit margin of 45%, we have generated a profit of around 4 lakh. Every box of Ascent helps in recycling 120 grams of flower waste, which contains more than 50 grams of pesticides. To date, we have recycled more than 1,110 kilograms of flower waste, impacted more than 5,000 lives, and have empowered our user group, which consists of specially abled and rural women, by increasing their income by 150%. For the upcoming 6 months, we plan on increasing our brand presence by collaborating for gifting purposes. Further, we will be launching new fragrances. In the next few years, we plan on expanding and replicating our model in other areas in Delhi as well. Moreover, we will also expand our product portfolio into aromatherapy products. In our third expansionary phase, we will look at tapping the export market. We will also look at customizing the packages in order to adapt to the changing customer preferences. Every box of Ascent sends a message that celebration should not contribute to pollution. Under Arpan, we have extended the commercial purview. We have included people, planet, purity. So this is Arpan for you, empowering people, conserving the planet, and promising the purity. Thank you so much, judges. Now we are open for questions.
May I go for a quick question?
Sure.
Just one quick question. Any understanding upon the consumer likability? You are getting into a fragrance zone or a fragrance thing. Any insights? Have you done anything on that understanding?
In terms of survey or something like that?
Yeah, any in terms of preferability, likability, how is your fragrance comparable to the most popular brand or most popular used agarbattis or all those kind of sort of things?
Yes, sir. So, sir, as mentioned that we consider Fool as a major competitor, but not even as a competitor, but it's like a milestone for us, to be honest, because right now Fool has like received funding of 1 CR and stuff like that. So what happened for us, like we were in the market testing phase, wherein we were like constantly in a like personal touch with the customers, to be honest. So over there, we took their reviews and stuff like that. So, like if you have looked or to our incense cones, so that is one thing that we saw is most liked by our consumers because Diwali is our peak season. So during Diwali, what happened that most of the Fools customers also they approached us for our incense cones because if you see their packaging, we have a triangular shape packaging which looks very nice when it is gone with the gifting purposes. So over there, and also our like as we mentioned that we prefer more over the quality, and we have a brand story and stuff like that. So like many of the consumers complimented on that particular aspect, and there was conversions as well. So we consider that as a really great milestone because when we compare with a brand like Fool, and if you can actually convert Fool's consumers, so that is like a really that shows that yeah, our quality is something that we can rely upon.
So Sneh, first of all, like brave of you to take over the one of the most recognizable brand. Great of that to get into it. So how you got into this? Like you got close to 10 lakh rupees sales, and what kind of a legal structure you have? You are just like people just joining together. You have a private limited. How you're working together?
So like I am along with my friends. So we are like students from Sri Ram College of Commerce. So like as our college project only we started like we went on a survey. So over there we analyzed that there's this problem where we on a random visit to a temple near Ganga, we saw that there were truckloads of flower waste that is disposed into the Ganga. And then we thought that this is something that needs recognition, and that is where we saw that we collaborated with an NGO because we never had enough funds that time that we can maybe go for our own manufacturing process or something like that. And it was near about to the COVID period only. Like in 2019, we were almost like we analyzed it in 2018 or somewhat like that only. But when we started, it was around 2019 when we actually started in a full-fledged format. So there we collaborated with an NGO nearby to the temple only, where these women they actually go collect these flower waste and they make different products out of it. So over there we started mainly. So we started with 2 to 3 women, and then we saw that yeah, there is a market. So initially we started with a different packaging, but then in one of these businessmen only, some of the mentors recommended that we should maybe try a more exclusive packaging, a more aesthetic packaging. So then we revamped our entire packaging, moved on to e-commerce platforms, collaborated with over 40 plus online offline collaborations. Even Organic World is one of our major collaborators. So that is how we started.
So any plans for making it more proper a structure? Otherwise, like you can definitely do some kind of sales, but that will be more of a passion project, not a enterprise building thing.
Right now, we are considering 2 of the options, like either we go for LLP or a private limited. So we are confused between the 2 of the options. We are still seeking mentorship regarding the same, and it will be really great if like you all could also
just make it private limited and seek an investor because it's a great category now. It has got limelight. Don't delay it.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't have any question. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation, Sneh. Thank you, judges, for the feedback. And moving on to the last presentation of the day, we have team We Move.
Can someone confirm with me? Is my screen visible? Sorry, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yep. So, is it visible, the screen? Should I start?
Yes, go
Yes,
ahead.
it's visible.
Okay,
Start.
awesome. Thank you so much. We move the revolution in the field of assistive technology. Hello, my name is Luai Darwazawala, a third year mechanical engineering student from KJ Somaya College of Engineering and the founder of WeMove. I would request everyone present here to spare me a thought. Look around you. Maybe you'll find a couple of lovely people sitting next to you and some things around. Say a glass of water or your favorite beverage. Will you please pick something up for me? I'll wait. Now, if you have picked it up, rewind these 2 seconds of your life. The thought and the action of picking it up was intrinsic, maybe even involuntary. But it is not the same for more than 100 million people around the world that suffer from tetraplegia, compromised finger functions, or need to use a wheelchair on a daily basis. For such people, tasks as small as opening a door or picking things from around is sometimes impossible and insurmountable. Places that are even marked as disabled friendly are not accessible for them in a true sense. It is not possible to turn on the lights while sitting on a wheelchair. The switchboards are always high up. To pick something from a high shelf is impossible without any external help. There arising a need for a universal device to extend and grab which is affordable and easy to use, even for persons with compromised finger functions. To solve this pressing problem that affects millions of people around the world, I came up with WeMove, the world's first open source 3D printed wheelchair mounted robotic arm. WeMove has set out to revolutionize the field of assistive technology. Let me take you through the short journey of how I discovered WeMove. It was at the start of the pandemic in February when I saw a young girl well in her teens being wheeled around by a friend in the college campus. As I observed them, I realized that the tasks that we take for granted, such as opening a door, could be insurmountable for some. Just then did we endure through a gruesome lockdown, where I realized that the very person I saw might be left for themselves with no one to help. And she wouldn't be alone that is facing this problem. With a straining healthcare system, even post pandemic, there is an acute shortage of nurses and healthcare workers, especially in developing countries, which would leave an even larger impact on these people that require assistance on a daily basis. My problem solving journey, while contemplating the idea to help these millions of people gain back their lost independence, led me to meet and understand the pain points of several people that use a wheelchair on a daily basis, attend various physiotherapeutic programs, and even visit many old age homes to understand what kind of help do they need and what could a viable solution be. I even had a conversation with the caretakers to understand the same. After delirious research, I finally struck gold and Vivo was born. WeMove, the world's first open source 3D printed wheelchair mounted robotic arm, is built on these principles in the inception of the project. To be affordable for the masses, to be open sourced, to use a 3D printed structure so that can be printed anywhere around the world, and to use only off the shelf parts. The arm consists of a 3D printed structure with 6 servo motors that provide enough accessibility to reach any position as desired. We achieved a load bearing capacity of 750 grams and a reach of 1 meter at the longest configuration, all the while being powered by a battery that is mounted underneath the wheelchair. We have kept it as simple as possible so that even a willing, non technical person is able to replicate our project. We set out to design and make a low-cost open-source arm that someone could mount on the armrest of the wheelchair, and the user is able to control it using a simple joystick. Moreover, this arm is not just limited to being mounted on the wheelchair, but can be used by people with compromised finger functions or paraplegia and can be attached to the bedsides to access and pick things from afar. While we are building it at a cost of rupees 25,000 only, a 100x reduction to the commercially available product that cost upward of rupees 25 lakhs. This makes us accessible to the masses. How do we do it then? Two simple ways: reducing the manufacturing cost and using off the shelf parts. The only commercially available wheelchair mounted robotic arm is Kinova Jacob. Isn't it beautiful? But these very injection molded and machine parts are extremely expensive to manufacture. Just the molds cost lakhs in the initial development. While Vivo has a completely 3D printed structure, it can be printed anywhere. It can be printed on a medium-sized 3D printer, and that are now very easily available in institutions and innovation centers. The user can get it printed by websites that offer 3D printing solutions. This reduces the manufacturing cost manifold. The servos or motors that are used in commercially available robotic arm cost more than 3 lakhs each, while we are repurposing servos that are easily available off the shelf and are used in RC cars. These cost rupees 3,000, 100x reduction just in the cost of motors right there. Using these principles, we have set out to design and build our device at just rupees 25,000. Our roadmap includes getting our MVP built in the next 3 months as we start with the alpha stage of testing. This would help us with the valuable feedback from our users and help improve on our design. Post that, for beta testing, we are launching a Kickstarter campaign to increase our user base and get some initial funds for the development, with an aim for completing our first phase and get a market-ready product in just the next 9 months. Even this is just the tip of the iceberg. We are actively researching to implement the open source machine vision and artificial intelligence algorithm in our second design of the product. This would have a camera which is mounted on the arm, and the user will receive a live feed from the camera on the tablet that is mounted near them. By using machine vision and AI, the objects in your surrounding would be analyzed, and to pick them up, the user would just have to click on the object, and the movement of the arm would be executed automatically. This would increase the ease of use of our device manifold and could even let people suffering from ALS, that is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, use our device. For someone that is not familiar and to visualize ALS, it is the disease that Stephen Hawking suffered. It disrupts the communication between the brain and the body. Since VMove is going to be open source at heart, our website is structured in a way that if someone disabled wants to build our device, they could provide us with the verification of their disability, and we'll give them access to all our designs and assembly guidelines for free. We will always be free for them. Our revenue is earned in two sources in the long run. We would deliver semi-assembled kits worldwide to the doorstep of people that want an easier way to gain access to our device. This is to be sold at a markup. While if used in any education or research purpose, or for someone who wants to iterate on a design, a flat fee is to be charged to gain access. This will provide us with resources and in the research and development in the next phase. We are drafting a utility design and utility patent application with a view of earning royalty if such product is launched at a commercial scale. We already have a combined revenue of 1 lakh rupees a month at the MVP stage itself. Just the market of assistive technology is $20 billion. We aim to capture it with the USP of being open sourced, as well as, since we are free for the disabled, we have been featured in a number of online articles, and as we would leverage them as we grow. We are raising funds by entering such innovation and project competitions, whose winning would help us with the initial research and development money that would be required to reach our MVP and beta stage. For the same, we have received research grants for a project from IIT Madras and IIIT Delhi. We have 15 interested customers already who are willing to buy the alpha stage. Who are willing to buy kits for the alpha stage of testing. We hope to reach 150 customers this year, generate a sales of rupees 45 lakhs with a gross margin of 15 lakhs. In the next 3 years, VMove aims to provide a whole host of affordable open source product for the disabled and impact more than 10,000 people and bring a revolution in the field of assistive technology. These millions of people haven't had a device this affordable, this easy to use, and this open sourced. This will leave an impact at the grassroots level for such people and will be a turning point in the field of assistive technology, where a large community works towards impacting these millions of lives. VMove has set out to help these millions of people regain their once lost independence. And we believe with your help, we can. Thank you so much. It has been a delight to present in front of you. I would love to answer any of your questions.
No questions from my side, Ruval. But overall good concept. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, yeah, pretty good concept. So in this one word of understanding which I want to have is, this technically is a pretty capital intensive business. So obviously you're kind of speaking that you can still sail through with this whole frugal way of funding. So how you're visualizing next couple of years, how you will survive? Well, let's say the grants are not coming. So how you are trying to do it? Are you going to raise money, or you are going to do it through the sales of the products, which is going to take some time? And you have to also put lots of money in continuous R&D as well.
Yes, certainly. So we are thinking of doing a combination of both of that. We are looking for sales, as well as we are hoping to raise money as well. For the sales part, we already have 50 customers who are willing to buy the in the alpha stage of testing, who are willing to buy the kits and be our test users. So we have, and that would be launched in the next 3 to 4 months. And after that, we are launching up for the beta testing. We are increasing our user base to approximately 150 customers. So for that, we already would have some amount of revenue, and we would have some amount of savings that we can put in the R&D cost. We aim for, if so, as I told you, the device is around 25,000 if made for one. If I can build only 20 kits at one time, the cost reduces to 20,000, and I can sell it at rupees 30,000. So that would be a 10K margin for one device. And as we grow, that we are hoping that we would have a combination of research grants as well as from the sales. If that is not sufficient for us in our next stage of the device, we would definitely have to raise funds as we grow.
Thank you very much. It's indeed quite innovative idea. Really appreciate.
Thank you so much.
And one more, maybe I can have. So, what kind of structure you have right now? Is it a private limited or you are just?
So the thing is, I just started with it 1 month back. So in January is what this. In December, I was in the ideation stage. I built the product in January, and it's just been 1 whole month since I am operational. So I am looking to get incubated at our college incubation center, and after that, see how it goes, and especially receive mentorship of how this particular project has to be structured and what would a commercial structure or our company structure would look like. Yeah, thank you so much. Any other feedback that you would like to give?
That's it for now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Keep doing your encouraging work. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you all the teams for joining us and presenting your wonderful ideas. And thank you judges for the encouraging feedback and giving us your valuable time. So moving forward with the session, Runme would take it forward from there.
I think it was very, very insightful to see all these creative ideas. Thank you so much, all the participants and the judges. I think we have a very unique performance right now, and I think Vinod ji is here. Hello, Vinod ji.
Yeah, Mumbai.
Hello, how are
you?
Thank
you. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Yes, I'll just start with your brief introduction and then I'll hand the stage over you. Of course, you are online. We would have loved to hear you on stage live, but we are trying our best to utilize this platform. Thank you so much. So today we have a very unique performance of a group called Wylie Bamboo Folklore, a dedicated team headed by Mr. Vinod, who kickstarted the non-governmental organization in the year 2004 in a town called Arangottukara, which falls on the border of Thrissur district. The aim of this group was to preserve the traditional folklore and art form in the region before it vanishes into thin air. The team sought to revive this traditional art form of Kerala, which are the unrecorded tales of people and land. These folk songs have varying themes such as relationship of humans and gods, coming of monsoon and marriages, etc. The band plays music which brings out the feel of our earth, the soil, and its bounties. The Wylie theme music is a lullaby, a soothing melody to rock babies to sleep and take one into their trance of serenity. I won't be really taking much time into describing about Wylie folklore because I think Vinod sir is here to tell us about the story, and I think I would just give the stage to him. Over to you, Vinod sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Minmay, and so excited to meet you all online. And yeah, you want to play the music first, or I'll talk and then we come back to the music?
I think we can first hear the story about Wylie, and then it would be pretty interesting for the audience to connect with the soulful music.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Thanks so much. So let me just share the screen and keep it going. Hope you all can see the screen now, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, right. So this I'm going to talk about journey of Wylie, the journey we have started almost 18 years back on the banks of River Nila. And when we started in 2004, it was a small group of people. We want to do something on the cultural space, do something for the dying art forms, bring youth close to the tradition and culture, and try to preserve or promote and try to get people to work on it. And so I'll just quickly explain the journey of Wylie and the kind of activities we do very quickly. Then we can get into the music, which is an innovative one. then we can listen from your end if you have any questions. So thank you so much. And the picture you see actually is a traditional art form. You can see from the banks of River Nila. This is actually called Budam. Actually, it's a part of Budan and Tira. So River Nila, as you all know, Kerala is actually very familiar with the tagline, the gods and country. That's mainly because of the ecology of Kerala. And it has 44 rivers, and most of the rivers are originating from Western Ghats and then flowing back to Arabia, so Arabian Sea. And the whole the geography is actually so blessed with backwaters and enough rivers, and then to monsoon season. So it's very beautifully fabricated geographical landscape. And this is actually the second largest river in Kerala, River Nila or River Bharatapuzha, starting from the Western Ghats from Tamil Nadu and flowing the rest of the life in Kerala. And it touches 3 districts of Kerala and very unique in its cultural landscape. In the beginning, it has got cultural Tamil significant, Tamil influence in the art forms, culture, tradition, everything. Then it comes to Palakkad, where the Kerala region starts. Then it'll have its own Carnatic traditional music, and then Kathakali and all this actually traditional art forms, classical art. And then it flows to Thrissur and then finally the Malappuram, and then merging with the Ponnani area. That's actually the Malappuram district. That's in a nutshell the River Nila. And what we wanted to actually, as you know, actually Kerala in pioneer in establishing institutions for both academic as well as other non-academic studies in the field of folklore. And why we wanted to start Wiley, mainly because there are a lot of culture art forms on the banks of River Nila. We wanted to bridge the new generation with that, and can we make sure that Wiley can be a platform where youth can connect with their roots. This is actually we mainly call the region called Valluvanad, actually the place where very famous for its art forms and culture, and the music and everything. Is actually some of the art forms. So it's a youth-led initiative started in 2004, and the journey has been so fantastic so far. I'm being a software engineer. I work for a US company, and this is Wiley. I started as a passion, and my profession is in IT, and this is my passion. So 10 of us youngsters joined together in 2004 and started a group to look at the vanishing traditions of River Nila. And in 2008, we got selected for the Change News program. And that's actually a young social entrepreneurs program from Delhi with Prava, Ashoka, and Tata Trust. And we were part of the program 2000. That's really opened the doors for Wiley to look at the social entrepreneurship and then work along with the young social entrepreneurs in India. So that really made us to look at various aspects of branching Wiley to multiple units. So River Nila has been our core area of our activities, and we have an alternative school where we teach river-related aspects, actually called River School, Kuda Padasala, and we will take online and offline sessions to students to talk about river, its culture and ecology, and we try to bring river into their minds and then become the river warriors or river actioners in it. And we have a river knowledge center where we have documentations available about the richer culture, and then in the real anthropological classifications we have documented it. And we have a craft promoting center that's called Craftilla Innovators of Craft, wherein we try to promote the crafts from on the banks of river. And Alter School, as I mentioned, it's actually it's a system which we planned and creating a platform in our village where the students can know the river, its culture, degradation, the problems and challenges, and then we try to make them ambassadors of our own river, and they will take the initiative forward. And actually, we have Purakutams, and which will work with schools, colleges, and to bring them then bridging the knowledge, then knowledge center actually, creating the archival form and everything. It's actually a research project we envisage, community center. And the revival of craft is a one area which we have worked. And we work with local artisans and try to promote their products. That's actually in a nutshell. Wiley is an organization started in 2004, and we have 8 departments, and we'll be watching the performance of our bamboo orchestra. I'll talk a bit about the bamboo orchestra and its journey. When we started in 2004, it was just a performance group, folk expressions group. We were doing only the folk dance and everything. And the association with some of the international learners, folklore, they came to Kerala, Thrissur, and they were working here or studying here. With that connection, we got invitation to Japan in 2008. When we went to Japan, we were staying with the Japan Bamboo Band, and the almost a week-long interaction with the Japan Bamboo Orchestra really helped us to get into the real music of bamboo. When we came back from Japan, we were searching whether, especially in Kerala, whether Kerala has got any unique bamboo-based instruments. So we could see a lot of bamboo-based instruments from various parts of Kerala, especially with the tribals. Then we thought, can we collect all this and try to make an harmonized music out of that? It took almost 2 years for us to assemble everything and then synchronize it and make it part of the music. And luckily, there were a lot of support from musicians, our own musicians, and then we were trying to make our own new music. Then innovate on that, then that emerged as an independent unit under Wiley. And the core idea of looking at actually, we have folk expressions group wherein we talk about, we take up the folk expressions, especially the traditional folk arts, and wherein the youngsters will have a passion for making innovations or improvements or experimenting with the art form, which really sometimes creates problem with the old way of performance or problem with the aged people from the community. So we wanted to work with them closely and understand it. So at the same time, we don't want to spoil or detach totally from the traditional way of performing the same. So then that's what we thought for youngsters to explore more. Bamboo orchestra could be, bamboo music could be a one project. There's no boundary. It's a contemporary music band, and all music is actually it's made up of bamboo, and all instruments are replication of some of the old bamboo instruments from some of the tribal people, and most of 80% instruments are made by our own people through innovation. So they take time. They go to the bamboo forest area, bamboo they collect, and they work on it. With some idea comes up in their mind for making an instrument, they do the research, and then it will go for months and months to get tuned, and then finally included with that orchestra. So in orchestra, there are 10-member team working on that project for last 10 years, and they have been extensively traveling. And as Mai mentioned, we were planning to have live performance. Unfortunately, they couldn't do, and now they are traveling. Yesterday, they catched a train to Raipur for a performance. So they keep traveling across India. That's mainly because we could see that flute is a main instrument in this orchestra, and which there's no vocal, so that's why it goes very well with any community, anywhere. There is no language barriers actually, so people can understand the music very well. And most of the instruments are, our own instruments. We tuned it, and we got a lot of support from different agencies, India and abroad. And the many musicians and researchers, visited us and stayed with us to try to understand and innovate it. And the research continues, and we try to do the innovation, and we are trying to add more instruments to the band. And we are slowly venturing into commercializing the instruments. That means making the instruments available in the market for the musicians to tap on it and explore it actually. So that's some project discussions are going on. And then we are in a discussion with some special schools which are handling the special kids. with disabilities. They are thinking about innovating on their the learning process of instruments or music will definitely help such students to pick it up fast. So the discussions are going on in the international level where we established small music shops and music centers, and those such kind of students can come and play around it actually. So bamboo is actually eco-friendly and there's no harm and that won't hurt them with them actually. So that's as many discussions and variations are going on. And recently we have given music to one of the Tamil films. So things are happening. This is actually innovative project, totally contemporary. And in this music, actually, we play Hindustani or Carnatic, folklore, folk songs, tribal songs, and even they play Ravindra songs, whenever we travel to Bengal or other areas, Calcutta. So people used to ask, like, can we play some, Ravindra music actually we used to play. So there are compositions. You can see some of our YouTube channel has most of the videos available. So that's in a nutshell. I don't want to take much time. So this is actually, Wiley is a social initiative started in 2004. That journey has been so fantastic for the last 18 years. And we have ventured into 8 departments. I'll stop here. 8 departments. Folk expression is the first unit which we started, folk dance. And then we ventured into Craftilla. Craftilla works with crafts on the banks of River Nila. And then we have innovative band that's called Bamboo Music. Then we have Alter School, which mainly work with school and college students and creating a contemporary learning platform. And we have a TINAD, that's a Nila Action Group, which we're involved in the scientific documentation of river and its folklore. And we have been working with Sahaviria and other earlier with the Flow Foundation for documenting the cultural landscape using anthropological classifications, documentations based on that. Then we have a media collective called BIMA, Wiley Initiative for Media Action, which will be working on the media productions and making films and using the new media for bringing youth close to tradition and culture. And we have another unit which is called Social Arm of Wiley called AIM, Mental and Palliative Care, so where we work with mentally challenged people and the palliative sections. And we have an international film festival started 2 years back, NIFI, Nila International Folklore Film Festival of India. And the second edition was last year, 2021. We had around 100 films from across the globe, and we are taking it to the next level. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me. And probably Mike can plan a video, music. Then if you have any questions, definitely I wish to come back. Thank you.
I think without disturbing the flow, I would directly, move on to the music performance, and I think that would keep everyone in sync with the melody of nature. So yes, we will start with that. Technical team, yeah. We have another performance of the team. Then we can move on to the question and answer and more discussion. It was truly melodious. Wow, that was just amazing. This beautiful. I mean, uh, being an artist myself, I can imagine how this would have been on live on the stage, and I can hear the claps. I can hear just a splendid audience. I think it was just beautiful and soulful. We really wish that this would have been on the TIS campus. I mean, the greenery of the TIS campus, this vibrant, beautiful music. I think it would have been beautiful. I think we'll head on to some questions which we have in the chat box. Of course, the chat box is filled with beautiful, positive comments, but I'll still try to search the questions. We have questions from Charles as to how you are balancing your IT software work and this beautiful art form, managing this beautiful organization.
Yeah, I just replied to that. Actually, the passion really drives it. You will definitely find time for it, even though we work for so passionately or so stuck with the professional life. And second thing is actually, it was when we started in 2004, that was actually a real inspiration from a group of social researchers from Thrissur. Most of them are school, college teachers, though they are teaching Malayalam or either social science in most of the schools, colleges. And in that time, late 90s, actually, the term folklore was really going among the social scientists. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, Kerala was one of the main centers and was setting up an academy for folklore studies. And then it was actually a center for folklore studies established in 90s. And I somehow got connected with them while I was reading some of their books. And it was all like, teachers and professors who are working social science, and they were really doing work in the field of folklore and then popularizing it among the local people. And they themselves helped me or prompted me to go and start something on the banks of River Nila, especially to document and bring youth close to that. That's where then the interaction with Prava, the Change Rooms program, social entrepreneurship program 2000 really made the change, because we were not, even I was not really looking at it as it was something like a passion, and we were just driving it. When we brought into Delhi and working with the many social entrepreneurs across India, and our mentor Lillian, she was from abroad, and she was very passionate, and she kept traveling to Kerala, mentor us for almost a year. So that really helped us look at very seriously and bringing youth energy into it. That's really, now it's like totally decentralized, and each department has got its own leaders and they are taking it forward. I'm just facilitating it actually. So if you have a real passion, then you will somehow find time.
That's so true. That's actually I can relate to that. And I think I had a question with regards to the youth which are involved in such bands, right? I mean, it's sort of I know many organizations even in abroad like US, they use art form to mitigate all these quarrels or the anger issues, everything. So probably, what is your experience? I think I saw everyone around this band, they're all youths, they're extremely energetic. So what is your experience? Have all multiple youths across your city, the village which you're working, they sort of volunteer and they want to be part of this band? And then what is your experience in general working with such vibrant youth?
I think it's for last 18 years when we worked with the youth, I always believe that youth has a lot of potential, and there's a lot of energy, and they're filled with new ideas and innovation. And only thing is actually creating right platforms and providing them right opportunities. Then that definitely make. And we always should be flexible to accept mistakes and then going along with it. One example which I could share is actually in 2009, we had hosted social entrepreneurs from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Almost 65 social entrepreneurs from across India traveled to Kerala and stayed with us for almost 5 days on the banks of River Nila, and we were exploring it actually. So that's why we believe that having flexibility and creating opportunity and be with them, definitely we can really make it. And now the relationship with Prava and the other social is still going on. So there are many programs we are handling it or monitoring in South India, especially CYC, the community youth program, and many of the JAGRIC programs. So the JAGRIC, the essence of that social engineering project, JAGRIC, we slightly customized it in a way like we developed a river module. So the framework, the social framework, the engineering framework we have taken from the JAGRIC and we customized it. Now our own members are going to schools and colleges and practicing it. It's a 9-year-long program called River Module. So I firmly believe actually youth has got the potential and the right spirit, and then they're all leaders actually. There is no upper and lower actually. So if you provide right opportunity, right platform, they all excel in that actually. So that's why youth has got that potential. And working with them is interesting always. You're mute. Yeah, you're on mute.
I'm so sorry. I think Charles, you wanted to go ahead with.
Yes, Mr. Vinod. Actually, coming back to the question between the passion and your work, like usually we have from Monday to Saturday, like say 9 to 6 work, right? Usually. So, and this work should keep on going on. As I see that you're nationally you're going around, telling about it and working. So especially when it comes to time, how do you put it? Like, do you work only on weekends, or when there's work to take leave and work for this music, or how does it happen in real time?
So I, of course, as you rightly mentioned, definitely keep profession and passion separate. And whenever we work for, when we take up our work, definitely concentrate on that. And I work in Kochi and almost 120 kilometers from my native place to the workplace. So earlier, like, before marriage and everything, I used to travel every weekends back to native. And then Monday I come back to Kochi, work for 5 days, and then the weekends go back. When I started having family and all, actually, it's slightly, sort of settled in Kochi. But twice or thrice in a month, I used to travel and stay for a couple of days there, come back. And definitely being working with a US firm, the advantage I get is actually we need to work only in the evenings. So like, even though that pushes us to work up to late night, like 10, 11 or 12, but in the morning time, I get a lot of time for my readings or homeworks and phone calls, and then so that's why actually I balance. Morning time I spend for my readings and homeworks and everything. Then by 2, I used to get into my software work and then continue that up to 4, 10 or 11 or 12 maximum. So that's how I manage. And definitely right from the beginning, we were having a totally decentralized mechanism, like, we'll give ownerships to the team to work on it. And they don't need to get to me for each and everything. So they have their own balanced sub teams actually. Each department has got their own leaders to manage their own mechanisms of communication. And right from 2004 onwards, we were making use of phones and everything to communicate. So really the Corona didn't affect us really, because we were having multiple channels of communication like WhatsApp or other mechanisms. So we were so fast in coming to the online meetings and everything. So we make that kind of arrangement. Yeah, hope that answers your question, Charles.
Yeah, actually, my thoughts, my learnings is that in TIS, so we are taught that when we're doing something, even social entrepreneurship, we are taught to be with the stakeholders and go to the people and be with them. In your session, I also learned that not only with the people, I think you have to be with even with the environment, with the rivers, with the nature. Get the understanding of that hills, mountains, the rivers, and I think from there the kind of life soul comes out, I guess. So exactly. I'll make it a point in my field work, not only with the people, but I will be with the environment, and I think then the music you're making so beautiful, I think it comes out of every person, it blossoms. So yeah, thank you.
We firmly believe one point that we don't need to be environmentalist or activists per se. So each individual can build up sort of a social acumen wherein the environment is part of your life. If you take any artisan, any artist per se, any folk artist, for them it is like environment at the place they work or the context they are involved. Everything is interlinked. For example, I can give you, if you work with a potter, And the potters are migrated, as per the history, they migrated from Andhra to Kerala, settled on the banks of River Nila, and they have many settlements. And so, but once in a year, the entire community go back to the river. They do the ritual there. Actually. So, if each community you take, they have a connection with the river, and they keep the rivers and the environment is so precious. So then actually that system has got disconnected. Actually, so if you take a new generation, our generation is not connected to the river actually. So for us, it is just a sort of water. I mean, this is a source of water. Beyond that, we are not connecting. We are not establishing a relationship with the nature of river. Once you create a relationship with your river and the nature, if you own that, that is yourself. You don't never destroy or create issues to the next. Once you feel like it's my own river, my own family, my own this thing, and you don't never go back to destroy it actually. So creating an ownership, that is very important. That's why through the river module, river project, what we're doing is actually going to school students and then talking about the stories, songs, art forms, what we collected from the river. So stories about fish, stories about the birds and hills and all that.
I think we have one question in the chat box. I think Parul is asking one question, asking out of curiosity, do you also see female artists interested to join the band? Would love to see them playing some instruments as well. Great work, sir.
Right. We do have females part of the girls part of the group, and folk expression, the folk dance group, definitely we have a large group. Bamboo, even though few of them tried it, we couldn't take them outside because they keep traveling to across India. So taking them along with us to travel is a problem. So that's why for the bamboo team, only boys, right now, only boys are playing the instruments. But definitely we should be gender neutral, and while you always insist that providing an equal space to girls and women actually. So in our actions, we do consider that, and folk expressions definitely we have. And if anyone comes up to learn that, definitely we have. We definitely open our doors and do it actually. We had a lady, a researcher from US actually. Her name is Meriska. And she was doing a PhD in US, and she wants to come and stay with us for almost 2-3 months to understand the notations. Because in the Western culture, the music which you normally notate actually, everything you have notation, and you play the music exactly based on the notations provided. But in Indian cultural space, if you look at it, especially in the percussion space, if you look at it in India or in the southern side, chenda or mudang, anything you take, there is actually called the advantage. I mean, the ability of a player, the music player, they can go. They call manodharma, and based on the manodharma, the artist can play anything. I mean, there is a boundary, but they can play around it. So that's why when we were working with her, actually, she was telling like, how do you communicate? So it's interesting that among 10 members of the Bamboo band, they built up sort of a communication platform. They use Vaitaris. So each person knows that what the Vaitari mean, how do you play this actually. And when they come up with a new music, the person who got a thread, he will convey that music very easily, others will get it. And she was helping us to notate it, and she couldn't do that actually. So that's actually, I mean, a lot of innovations happening. And there's an interesting project in Pondicherry, Swaram. And they, I mean, we went there and stayed, and they came back and stayed with us, tried to sort of, tune the instruments and sort of try to, because a third person comes to the band, finds it very hard to understand, the communication, because among 10, they communicate very fast. The third person comes in, it's very, because when we travel from India to other places, we always carry a sound engineer along with us actually, because sound engineers existing in other places find difficulty to balance the music with the sound coming from different instruments, because they have to be somewhat familiar with that. So that's why, and of course we always provide space for girls, no problem.
I think we, as students for social entrepreneurship, we revolve around these three aspects of people, profit, and planet. And I think, the next question which I have is that you're across these beautiful domains, which are really the need for tomorrow and also for the present. And I think the need of art has been highlighted so well during the COVID, because I think we all were stuck home. We were all busy with our YouTubes, the phones, everything. But I think art had spent quite a lot of positivity during the COVID. But I had a question as to how do you manage the sustainability, like the financial sustainability of this huge organization?
I think that's a very interesting question. At the same time, it's a very relevant. If you look at it, India was trying to build a cultural policy, and none of the states are having cultural policy. Even Kerala, 4-5 years back, there was an attempt to create a cultural policy for Kerala, especially looking at the intangible and tangible initiatives from UN and all the places. There was an initiative, but nothing moved out actually. So there are so many academies, so many cultural institutions, government institutions working to, to support the cultural space. But I don't think, I firmly believe that India need to look at the culture space very seriously, and beyond from also called propaganda and other things. Actually, that the policy has to be worked out, and especially there should be room for the all sectors of artists. So in our system, if you look at it, we have a lot of compartments actually: traditional, ritual, folk, and classical. You put the culture as into multiple boxes, and you create too many institutions to manage it actually. So when it comes to the benefit of an artist, I believe that artists are almost same, irrespective of classical, traditional, folk, anything you take. Classical and traditional, you say they have a traditional way of learning it. And the folklore, it is actually purely through your family and their chains, and then vocal and everything. So there's a system, and I firmly believe that every art has got a proper way of teaching and learning it. So that I think India has to work on a proper culture policy. You all have worked on the water policy, river policy, and all the gender policy and everything. At the same time, you have to look at the cultural policy. In that, you need to look at the major thing, or the alarming situation which is arriving in India and across the India, is actually the divide which is creating among the youth and the traditional performers. So you need to have a balancing between this. If you go to any country like the US, or I travel to most of the Europe and other areas, you could see the kind of support they provide, the kind of support system they have, and they're so flexible in creating creating a supportive platform for artists. Now, if you have a creative idea, if you want to look for funds, and because I was listening the earlier presentation, so funding, as you mentioned, actually the financial aspects are crucial aspects. If you go to any such projects, if you want to get a funding in Indian level, you have IGNCA, or you have to Culture Ministry you have to approach, or you have to look at the zones, culture zones. We have 5 zones across India. So too much process, you have to either go to local academy, then they will submit the proposal, then the center will get it. You have to submit it, because whenever we upload, there's a form available in the website. You have to either fill in Hindi or English and send it. The local people will have problem in filling it. So actually, those systems should be rooted in a way like the local people can get it, and there should not be any much compartments in the culture space, and then everything. And we should treat equally. That's what my point. Whether it's a classical or a traditional, or Bharatanatyam, Kathakali, Mohiniyattam, at the same time, Pudanantira or anything, the Chow dance and everything you take actually should be treated equally. And the kind of remuneration you provided, I could see that in my experience. A folk artistic performance, they give only 500. A classical dancer or a Carnatic singer comes and sings it, and they'll give 1,000. So that disparity, the separation should be taken out. All artists should be treated equally, and that's kind of a cultural policy change shift should happen in India, and especially at the state level. So in Kerala, we are trying to push through various aspects. Even though we have too many academies and we are too many boards and working on it, but at the end of the day, it's very hard, because it's not a political culture. Is never comes to the agenda of politics. So unless and until it comes, it's very hard. Even though UN declared the tangible and intangible cultural heritage declaration, and then followed by in India and especially in South Asia, there are institutions who are working on it. I'm part of the institution called ICHCAP, and it's a Korea-based UN initiative. So this is all happening, but there should be a proper synchronization of the existing mechanism with the new initiatives. Yeah.
I think you mentioned very important points as to we should be putting more focus on the cultural policy across all the states in India. I think it's really if anyone has any more questions with regards to.
We can provide the links. I provide you, but you can just share. There are a few people
I would definitely share. We have the
and,
participants list, so I'll definitely mail them with the
right.
needfuls. I think we have really it's really wonderful, Vinodji, for showcasing your wonderful work and art through our platform. This Ipreneur has gone live on YouTube, so people, of course, it's Sunday and everyone has their own weekend plans. Thank you for taking out time and being here for us. But probably we have our recording live on YouTube, so people who have missed this beautiful soulful performance, I'm sure they would be able to listen to it and listen to your story later sometime. So thank you so much, and we are looking forward to hear you live soon. I think on campus we would love to hear you again and your entire team. So thanks a lot, Vinodji, for joining our Ipreneur 21. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So I think we have like around 10 minutes of short break, and then we are going to be heading to the most awaited section of Ipreneur. We're going to be declaring the winners for the case study competition as well as the social venture challenge of Ipreneur 21. So we are looking forward to that. We'll just take a 10 minutes transitional break, and then we will see you back. Thank you.